Hello and welcome to the Winners Find a Way show. I am your host, CEO of Leadershipity, serial entrepreneur, having started 14 companies. I am currently the president of EO West Michigan. I have written a book called Leading Winning Teams. I also host this podcast, obviously, but most people probably know me because I speak around the world and I spent over 13 years in professional baseball, coached in 3 World Series. And today on the Winners Find a Way show, I have got a special guest, a good friend, another 1%er, my man, Mitch Allen from Fort Worth, Texas, who owns Hire Santa and went into the Shark Tank and won with Santa Claus. So hey man, you're the guy right now, Mitch Allen. You're the guy. Welcome.
I'm so glad to be here and talk with you and your audience.
Yeah, it's going to be so fun. So, as the president of EO West Michigan, we do some of the most formidable leadership and education programs you'll ever see. And we are actually having Mitch visit Grand Rapids coming up soon, November 6th, in the Grand Rapids area. Going to be incredible. These experiences are just once in a lifetime. And man, Mitch, we're so excited to have you. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Man, I'm super excited to be there and share not only my journey on Shark Tank, but my journey in EO, as well as, I've been an entrepreneur. You mentioned 14 companies. I think I've got 12. I've had 12 companies over the course of the last 25 years or so. And I've had failures. I've had successes, shut things down, had some exits. And so I'm happy and really excited to share with the West Michigan chapter my story.
Yeah. Now, is there spinoffs? Is there Hire Elves? Is there hire Reindeer? Is there spinoffs of Hire Santa, man, on these 12?
Yeah, it's a great, well, no, not in that actually, but interesting enough, I do own the domain and we've launched, though it's sort of, I don't know, there's a chicken and egg and sort of the lead gen staffing business, Hire Mariachis.
Okay.
We actually have hiremariachis.com. And if you need a mariachi band, year round, we've got mariachi bands as well. So, but we do, Hire Santa. It's interesting. People think that it's just this really seasonal business, and it is in terms of the delivering of our service. But in terms of the business, working on the business, contract sales, it's a full year job. And I've just got an amazing team that really helps me with those things. So we really focus on Santa, but yes, we've got Hire Mariachis. We do a little Easter bunny. We do some other things, but Santa's the main gig.
Yeah, I got to say, man, for all you listeners, a lot of people know, author of Leading Winning Teams. I've been out there a long time. I'm a huge proponent of mentorship. You might have seen that in the opener. I had my EO mentorship hat on, which is always an incredible kind of experience in EO. But now I am a mentee of Mitch Allen as a president in a chapter. It's a challenge to be the leader of all the leaders. That's for sure. And so you are my regional, kind of mentor here in EO, which is pretty awesome because you are also a former president of EO Fort Worth. And of course, talk to me quickly about that role as well as, Mitch, I don't know if Fort Worth is where everyone thinks Santa Claus is originating, right? We're Michigan people, we like snow and Santa. We're closer to the North Pole, maybe. I don't know. And of course, Michigan has a little heritage about Santa.
Yeah, for sure. Michigan does, including, as I was telling you earlier, the oldest Santa school is right there in Midland, Michigan, for sure. It's there. And yes, I've been in EO for close to 20 years, been president of EO Fort Worth, and now am area director, which means I help presidents succeed and help chapters succeed. And it's an interesting thing is about EO in general. Once you get into leadership, it's all about how do you lead leaders, what you just said. And that's an interesting switch. And now that I'm on the regional council and helping, it's not manage, it's like what you said, it's leading. It's how do you lead people who you don't have direct authority over. You're not paying their paycheck. You're not, there's not a chain of command in terms of the military or something. It's that you're having to talk with them. You're having to convince them. You're having to lead them without those sort of sticks that you have or even carrots that you have. And so I'm really enjoying this notion of how do you lead leaders? And it's scratching an itch that I don't find in even my businesses or anything else. So I'm really enjoying that greatly and hoping to continue that as well. You talked about Christmas. It's an interesting, the story of how you get into businesses and my entrepreneurial journey. When you look back on it, it's it must be this straight line in some way, but it's not. It's this weird up and down and sideways and 4 dimensions. And like, I never, like, my background's math and statistics. I'm a nerd. I'm not a theater guy or anything. And like, no, and I'm sure Misty, my wife, been married 27 years now. There was no like Santa Claus in our future when we got married. Like, that was not in the cards. And so it's just, one thing, like this one motion where an executive assistant asked me to dress up like Santa. Obviously, I didn't have a beard. You can see him from my Shark Tank thing. Look less like, more like an elf, which that's what I was on Shark Tank, than Santa. But asked me to dress up like Santa, to hand out bonuses, to create Christmas cheer. One of our core values was fun, and that is a financial education company. And so I had a wonderful time. I then did a cookie decorating party for my young daughters at the time that my wife asked me to do, and really fell in love with it. And then I'm an all-in person, just like you are, Trent. And I would not have hired myself my first year of being Santa, or even my second, but I'm an all-in guy, and I quickly became better. Think of Tim Allen in the Santa Claus movies, glue on beard, fat suit, all in. Somebody asked me to do it again, and they pay me. They want to pay me for something as I'm walking out the door, and I'm like, "There's money in this?" Well, entrepreneurial. I'm an internet marketer. Throw up a site, I get more business than I can do, and then it's a couple years later, buy the domain, hire Santa, and then as the thing, yada yada yada. I'm on Shark Tank, and here we are today. So it's in looking back, it might be a straight line, but it wasn't at the time.
Yeah, two fun things for me is, one is, you talk about leading the leaders, right? I think all organizations ought to be looking at, how do we train the leaders? Like, I am going to be a leader as a founder, as a CEO, but I got to hire all these other leaders who have to run departments. They have to lead. And we know, as longtime business owners, people don't leave the company. They leave their boss, right? They tend to leave their leader. If their leader's not doing well for them, they tend to want to go somewhere where they're going to get better leadership. So when I think about that, I always say, hey, I'll know you know it when you can teach it. So as I'm trying to lead those leaders, not only do I got to model it, but I got to make sure I'm coaching them up and teaching them how that's going to look. So I love that aspect. And then, as you as a lifelong learner, you've had tons of you carry a notebook around you, globally. I always see you with it, right? And you have penciled a bunch of leadership lessons along your journey. And we'll talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I start a new notebook every year, and I literally got it right here. Here's my life lessons. And the very first thing I do is I copy down my life lessons, and then hopefully every year add some more to it. These are life lessons, entrepreneurial lessons, and it's just a reminder, because many times I forget them, and then I've got to relearn them. And many times lessons are painful. And so I don't want to have to relearn these same lessons. So I'll write them down, and then I love sharing those lessons as well. And I have I have some stories behind each one of these things, sometimes painful, sometimes fun, but I really am a lifelong learner. And I've read lots and lots of business books. Many times I think I probably would have been better served to read one book 10 times than to read 10 new books. And so I really try to focus on what are those lessons I'm learning, and then how do I apply them and not forget them. And so it's important to me to learn things and to learn from people. And you've sat with me when I sit with people. It may be a bit of a coping mechanism, but I always like asking questions. So I've got a series of questions, a book full of questions that I also like to ask entrepreneurs about, and just business people, about how they make money, what they're passionate about, what they're learning. And then it's setting goals. For me, I've already started the starting of the process of learning, of setting my goals for next year. That sort of tie into some longer term goals that I have. And then an interesting thing that I've been doing for a number of years is coming up with a word of the year, and having a word that's going to represent this year or the next year that's coming up. So I'm about to start. There's a book called Word of the Year. I've forgotten the name. I think it's Word of the Year. And I want to reread that book and then come up with my word for 2026.
What's your 2025 word?
Well, this word is now. And so I actually changed it after I was talking with someone and then reread this book. I had another book, but now isn't just like an action word. It's a great word that is a little bit more pervasive in my life, where I want it to be, yes, I want to take action right now. I don't want to wait. I don't want there to be put things off because I can procrastinate with the worst of them or the best of them. And but it's also about being very present. And when I'm talking with someone, I want to be in the now. And so my word for the year, and it's on almost every page of my book, write it up there almost on every day, is the word now, and to think about that and have that in my mind.
I love it, man. And I love the idea of like the books, because you and I are been in this game. You're basically writing your own book right there with like the whole lesson. It's gonna be awesome, right? And I wrote this book, and I was a young man, and I was trying to figure out business, playing from behind, right? Education degree, trying to figure it out on the fly. And I wrote a letter to Harvey McKay, who was involved with the Minnesota Twins, and I was in professional baseball at the time. And Harvey had authored all these books, right? Like Beware of the Naked Man Who Offers You His Shirt. And he had Never Swim with the Sharks, or Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive. And these great titles. And Harvey was so generous. Like he sent me this box. And it was like, it probably had 7 of his books inside. Yeah. And he wrote this handwritten note. He said, "Hey, Trent, thanks for the note. Like, I'm so glad you're a fan. And hey, here's my books. I don't want you." He said, "Don't read them, study them." And I thought, man, that was interesting, because we get commercial books and we read them. Like, oh, I read the book. Like, hey, did you actually apply anything out of that book? Like we have to apply things out of college, right? We go to studies, and we have to apply those things we learn. And so when I wrote my book, I was thinking like, man, I did this TEDx talk called The Pain Exchange. Mm-hmm. So at every end of every chapter, here's the pain exchange. Here's the things that you need to do. Here's an exercise for you to actually input this into your life. Like, how would this look actually if this were in your life? You've heard from other people. What would it look for you? Like, are you willing and disciplined enough to actually do something about it? I thought that was so important for me to actually put people in action. Right. And when I studied Harvey's book, there was a quote I've said worldwide on all the stages, right? Is everybody wants to win the day of the game. Few are willing to prepare for it. Yeah. I just thought, that was the whole world of sports and getting ready for what, and kind of the now. Are you ready for what's about to happen? Because you're not going to get these moments again. So here you go into Shark Tank. And this is a one moment, right? Like, everybody wants to win on Shark Tank. Few are willing to prepare for it, right? Now it comes to this moment, and you got to be ready. And I love the picture. Mitch shares a picture in all his talks of his whole group of the Santas and the elves, all with the sharks. It's a very cool picture. You must have 30 people in that picture. It's crazy.
Yeah. So it's interesting because about preparation, but I literally I didn't have any special advantage. I went to the Dallas Small Business Expo and stood in line with 500 other chumps, and 495 of them should not have been there. I talked with a bunch of them because I had to wait all day. They said, "Don't get up there early." Like, they gave me online, there's bad advice. I should have gotten there early, so I'd have been early, but I waited around all day. I talked with a bunch of people. Most of them have no business experience, and their businesses are not real businesses. There's no way they'll be on Shark Tank. But I walked up at the end of the day, and I'm talking to the assistant to the junior casting person who's worn out. He's been there 10 hours. Yeah. And, I'm just like this, except without a beard. And I got a backpack. And I walk up to him and I say, "I'm about to surprise you in at least 3 ways." And he just sort of looks up from his note and he says, "Why, do you have revenue?" And I'm like, "Oh, yes. I've got revenue," because I already had a good business. It was already a great business, more profitable. I had a better margin than my a large lead gen business that I had at the time. It was just a great business. But then I was talking to him. I was like, "Just imagine this." And I was painting a picture to him, like, imagine me walking into and I put on a Santa hat. And I said, "Imagine me walking into the tank, and I've got 20 Santas following me into the tank." And then I go into the pitch, which was 90% of what I pitched on air. And I know that it was entirely unexpected, because I'd already prepared for that, even that pitch. I had memorized what I was going to say. I had thought about, visualized and thought about what I was going to be saying ahead of time. And then once I got past that, and there's a whole story. And if you really want the whole story, you got to come November 6th to Grand Rapids, where I talked to West Michigan for the story. But then I prepared after I got past that round for 9 months to prepare, so that when I got on air, I was already prepared, and I had I wasn't nervous. I wasn't unexpected. And it was, I was ready to perform because of all the preparation that I had done, as well as my entire entrepreneurial journey, and especially because of the support I'd gotten from EO.
So incredible, man. I gotta wonder about your house when you talk about Misty, man. Like Christmas is my favorite holiday of all, right? Like, man, Jesus' birthday, like I'm all fired up. Like it's gifts, usually everybody's in a pretty joyous mood for the most part, right? There's always a couple challenges there, but man, I mean it's at your house 24/7. Does Christmas get old, man? Like because you're hiring Santa. Like I mean it's a thing.
Hey, it's always Christmas at Hire
Yeah.
Santa.
Yeah, there you go. I love it.
And everything tastes better in a Hire Santa mug, by the way. I'll bring you one.
All right, perfect.
So, yeah, it's well, I know this. Misty, my wife, was definitely tired of watching Shark Tank. I don't think she's watched another episode of Shark Tank, well, besides the ones that I'm in, since our preparation. Because it was literally on 24/7, watched every episode, wrote down every question, hired some interns, like all in. And so yeah, she was sick of Shark Tank by the time that we got on. So but yeah, Christmas is a great time. And I'm about to be an empty nester, so when you have children, Christmas is even more special, and to be associated with it. Hire Santa, we help bring the season to life for millions of people around the world. We help brands associate themselves with Christmas, and so it's an incredibly precious, joyous business, and different than any other one that I've had before. Other businesses, my lead gen business, I helped make attorneys money. Well, no one cares about that. But when I talk about bringing the love and joy of Christmas to people, their eyes light up. They've had a great experience with Santa, or they have kids that who light up when they see Santa, or for Christmas, or Christmas has some special meaning to them. So it's an amazing business, and it's a business that's unlike any other business I've ever had.
I love it, man. So let's talk about, you're this entrepreneur of 12 times. You've been in Fort Worth, Texas. What's, as this budding entrepreneur who now has learned how to, hire Santas all over the world, right? What's one thing most people don't know about you?
So many things. It's one of my great questions that I like asking people is, what are you passionate about? And so, my passions feel a lot of different things. And I have a learning goal every single year that's really varied. And I will learn something. And if I really enjoy it, I'll make that part of who I am. And if not, I'll discard it. And I'll go maybe deep, but very quick, and then decide whether I want to incorporate it or not. One of the things that's has stuck with me for a really long time is I love camping, love hiking. I did it with my son, who's now 22. So from the time he was 6 until he was 19, we did what we call the man trip, which I would take him, other young boys, and then men when they were, and their dads, if they wanted to go. Sometimes their dads would go and not. And it was on a very hard and escalatingly hard camping backpack trip, where the goal is not to see anyone for 7 to 10 days. And, and we had great conversations around the campfire, and conversations that you don't have when you're at your house and when you're stuck on your phone. But when you're out in the middle of nowhere and there's no cell service, you can just really talk. Or hiking on the trail when it's incredibly hard. Like there are several times when my son Nathan was literally, when he was younger, crying on the trail because it was so hard. And then towards the end, I was crying, and he was trying to console me. But so I love camping. And then towards the end, we hiked Kilimanjaro. We hiked Mount Fuji together. Those are slightly different trips, but I love camping, love hiking. And so there's something people don't necessarily know about me.
How old is he now? Kilimanjaro. How old was he when he did that?
So we did that after his senior year. Is he 18 or 19? I think he was 18. Yeah. Is either 18. Yeah, I think he was 18, about to turn 19 when he did that, and took 3 young men with him. And it was just an incredible experience. Not only like Kilimanjaro itself, this may sound bad, it wasn't as hard as what we've done in the past in terms of like just physicality. Altitude, it was hard, but going to another country, and this was right after COVID. And so that was an amazing experience, and seeing another continent, another culture. And we did a lot of things sort of before and after we hiked up Kilimanjaro.
I love it, man. That's incredible. And it's just I think about like the time you kind of mentioned the phones, like, when we would have moments with our teenage boys who are now in their late 20s now, and we would take their phones away, and in 2 days they became like new kids, right? Like they were talking and interacting, and I was like, oh my gosh, like these things have got us whipped around this whole screen time and head down and loss of social activity, and it's dangerous. And so I love the idea of getting off the grid, right? Always where there's an interaction, you see a different level of personality and enjoyment. And also getting back to God's country, like getting back where you're just like, man, this is nature, a little bit of survival, right? Like, hey man, there's not going to be a king size bed with a box spring and a mattress. This is going to be roll out a piece of foam and let's go. So I love that. Man, to test the human will is always pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. And two things that made me remember. One time I was trying to get a little bit maybe more hardcore. Well, I think I was trying to save weight. And I'm like, I'm not going to bring enough food for myself. And so, but I'm going to fish. Like we usually go to a high mountain lake and I fly fish, and we usually catch fish and we'll have fish. So I'm going to say, I'm just going to catch more fish. And so I'm going to take less food. And I've never fished harder and caught less while I was there. I was over there. I was trying to get into Nathan's backpack and see whatever spare food he had, because about day 4 of it, and just having breakfast in the morning, I was like, man, I'm a little bit hungry because I haven't eaten enough.
Yeah, that's funny, man. Like, I tell a lot of people, man, I don't like fishing. I like catching. That's all I like to do, man. Like, the patience is not my superpower, right? So I'm sitting there going, man. And so it's funny because when you're trying to go hard and like, we really need this, like, it's not happening now, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Like, it's never happening. No bites, man. Man, they must sense it. Like, like dogs smell fear, or bees smell fear.
They're sensing like this isn't catch and release time. Like I get caught here, I'm not going back in.
Yeah. All right, for everybody out there, like November 6th, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Mitch Allen comes in to see us for Hire Santa event. It's going to be incredible. EO West Michigan is hosting. Mitch, this is just a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You're going to want to be a part of this. You're going to want to check it out. Mitch, give them 3 or 4 things they're going to walk away with from just being there.
Yeah, well, rumor has it, and since I'm making it happen, it's going to happen, is one of like the actual Santa Claus may be in the house. So come there, get a great picture. You're going to be able to film something for your kid, grandkid, cousin, whatever it is, with maybe the actual Santa Claus. So I'm not saying if it is or isn't, but you can make your own determinations. That's going to be great. But a couple other things. Number one, like you're going to get this whole behind the scenes Shark Tank experience. Like not only happens in the preparation that I talked about, but spoiler alert, I already talked about, I got a deal, but then what happens afterwards? Did I actually close the deal? What happened from it? What's the result? Most people don't know this, but like over 60% of the businesses don't actually close the deal after they close on air. And so you're going to get behind the scenes about that thing. So it's going to be entertaining. The first part is definitely about entertaining, but I also talk about it. And the title is How to Get on Shark Tank and Other Lessons That I've Learned from Santa Claus. So there's going to be plenty of bad dad jokes about Santa or Christmas that I'm going to weave into the thing. And I'm going to talk about some of these, as you mentioned, some of the life lessons that I've learned. And so you're going to be able to sort of choose your own adventure. I've got a story about my top 27 lessons, whether it be real estate, whether it be partners, whether it be taxes. I've as I've said, over 12 businesses. I've shut businesses down, and you're going to take away something either from your business or your personal, and or being entertained.
And so for you out there, if you're considering joining the Entrepreneurs Organization or EO, this is a spot for you. This is where if you were a person who owns $1 million business, or even you're a business owner who owns a $250,000 revenue or more and want to join an accelerator and get moving in that direction of growth, this is a place where there's a lot of support for business owners, and you're going to learn a ton about fellow owners who share the same challenges that you do. You're going to find a tribe of people that you may not find anywhere else in this world. Sometimes it's very rare. And of course, you and I both know that only 3.7% of all businesses in North America make $1 million or more. So this is also a very unique set of individuals that kind of come in. So we welcome you. You're going to have a great time. Obviously, it's the right time, right? I mean, we're about 7-8 weeks out from Christmas. So this is about exactly the time to go. So this is going to be incredible. I can't wait to see everybody there. So for everybody, Mitch Allen and Trent Clark, thank you for joining us on the Winners Find a Way show. We're so excited you're here. Tune in every Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, live on our Leadershipity YouTube channel, Facebook, and LinkedIn Live. And then our podcast drops every Friday morning, where you can catch the full show on all the major networks. So we'll see you then. Mitch Allen, my special guest, thank you for being here, buddy.
My pleasure. See you soon.